the mysterious but very practical and transformational Akashic Records, that living database, that guidance system, something that's very practical, something very transformational. Hi, this is Phillip Mountrose with my wonderful wife and partner, Jane Mountrose. And we are co-founders of Awakenings Institute. We help people step up, tap into the heart and soul with holistic coaching and healing. And for many years, we've been interested in especially soul growth, your purpose, transformation, healing, and the Akashic Records fit in perfectly. We've been going deeper and deeper into it and teaching this upcoming course, of which this is an introduction, the 5 myths of the Akashic Records that might surprise you. And it's a great way when you connect and learn about the Akashic Records, what it is and what it isn't, and tapping into your uniqueness, which means you connect with your personal greatness and genius, which is wonderful for spiritual growth as well. And by connecting with the Akashic Records, learning how to do that, it can save you a lot of time and energy. In fact, maybe things you've been struggling with for years or decades that are part of spiritual growth can be answered by going into the Akashic Records, which we'll explain. And as I said, we will go deeper in our upcoming 12-week course on spiritual awakenings with the Akashic Records, oracles, and EFT. And make sure to stick around for the end of the class today. We're going to do a special how to access the records if you have fears and doubts, which many people do, with Angelic EFT tapping to help you. And yes, a lot of spiritual luminaries have connected with the Akashic Records, as you may know, Edgar Cayce, Rudolf Steiner, Yogananda. But this can be accessed by anyone, as we'll explain. It's not a physical or digital library we're talking about, so there are misconceptions, misunderstandings that we're going to clear up today on the 5 common myths connected with the Akashic Records. So let's start with myth number 1. Jane?
Yeah. Well, first, I want to welcome everybody. And just to make it personal, accessing the records has been life-changing, I think, for myself, and I think for Philip and many of our students who have gone through this program. It's an incredible journey for anyone who's interested in spiritual awakening and ascension and healing and understanding how it is that we get ourselves on what you might call our highest trajectory for growth and for living life fully. So, with that, it is important to understand, as Philip was suggesting, what it actually is not. And many people, all concerns that people have, that we can explain away today. So, obviously, if you're looking at myths, like the myth number 1 that we have is accessing them can be dangerous. Well, myths
Ooh.
like this can myths like this can get in the way, and it's not to say that going into those deeper realms doesn't have its you could say traps and things, but if you really are going into the records, and if you do it as we do with angelic support, angels lift your vibration, and what our goal is, our initial goal is to rise above, energetically above all of the dangers. Because if you're vibrating from a place of love, which is what we love, getting into that place, opening your heart and opening to love is like the first step of, for us, every process that we do, because it protects you. And you can also, there are other things you can do too if it feels necessary to you. Um, but there are other reasons why people think that it might be dangerous, and one of them is that many people are afraid of what they might discover there. Like, well, if I discover, if I go in there, I might find something really horrible about me. And in truth, we're magnificent spiritual beings. We're not horrible. And the things that we discover, we may discover that there are times when we've been off track. Certainly that's true for all of us. But it's not that there is something really horrible about us. I know there was a time when I used to think that I was deeply flawed, so much so that anybody who was at all aware spiritually would, when they looked at me, they would know what, like, that woman is. And it's not like that. It really is discovering what the illusions are that have held us back so that we can rise more fully into the truth of who we are. And then another one I mentioned is we could be attacked by evil forces or end up in a dangerous place. And if you are approaching it the way we do, and we're going to take some preliminary steps today, just as an example, that is not possible. Because if you're vibrating from love, it's kind of like if you turn on the light, the darkness disappears, right? The darkness can't touch you. And what we do is rise to a place where we are safe, and we surround ourselves with angelic presence, etc., that also protects us. Another one is another potential danger is you could get misinformation. Technically, the records don't hold misinformation. What they hold is truth about who you are, about everything, about your soul's history and potential futures and all of those things. But we have to realize that we are all subjective. So we want to make sure that we are in a state where the best of us can come through, which again is opening your heart, because this is where your wisdom lies, to open to your inner wisdom and truth. And again, it's from that vibration of love. So with that, you can be clearer, and it's very easy to know, well, am I in the right place or not? You know, because are you in a place where you're vibrating from love or not? So,
Right.
and that was always a big question in my mind too, many years ago, when I was trying to figure out how to access my intuition. People would say, well, you do this, and then you think that, and surround yourself with that, and then you're there. And it's kind of like, well, I didn't quite get that. And I went through, actually, Phillip and I went through years of that, trying to get something that felt like we really could understand it. And then once we understood that what we need to do is connect with the truth in our hearts, then everything leveled out for us and cleared. So our solution then is to prepare yourself by rising to that higher place of consciousness where you're aligned vibrationally with what you want to receive. So what I want to do today is a starting place, is a meditation that those who who know us have done many times. And as far as I'm concerned, I never get tired of it because it takes me vibrationally to a higher place. It's not like, well, I've done that before. Now I want to do something else. It's highly effective, and we found that with working with many clients and students over many years. So we're just going to do a brief example, and then move on to the other myths, starting with, if you're comfortable closing your eyes and then shifting your focus to your breath. Breathing in love and light, the most wonderful vibrations you can imagine from the universe around you, and releasing with the exhale, letting go of anything that is dense or heavy so that you can feel lighter with every breath. Asking any energy that is not your own to leave your space because we pick up a lot of energy from other people, places, times. Just send it back where it came from. What we're doing is bringing more of ourselves here, which also is very helpful when we want to embrace the truth. So sending all of that energy away with love, back where it came from, and then bringing all of your own energy back to you, energy that you may have left similarly with other people in other times and other places, which you can explore actually in the records if you want, where that energy is. And then breathing in lighter energy. We want to imagine rising up now, just rising up beautifully, perfectly, safely. We're going to a mystical mountaintop that's way high up. So it's so high up that it's above the mass consciousness thought forms, which is one of the things that drags us down because we're surrounded. It's like we're being bathed in the vibrations of those around us. So we're rising above that to this beautiful, magical, mystical mountaintop. And when you arrive there, gazing out at the magnificence of the world around you, rising up and viewing that expansive view, those things, both of those are um, they are expansive, so they're expanding your brain, your mind, and of course focusing for a moment on that love you hold in your heart, breathing that light of the divine, which is all around you here on the mystical mountaintop, just breathing it into your heart and all of the cells of your body, and opening to the love that you hold there. Allowing that love then to radiate out into all of the cells. The cells love love. You might notice that as you do that. It might even start to feel tingly. And then allowing that light to radiate all around you, surrounding that whole ball of light that is your energy field with love. And allowing it to expand, getting a more expansive perception of yourself. We compress ourselves a lot of times because we're trying to fit in, like we're trying to fit actually the largeness of who we really are into a small space in terms of consciousness when we're on the earth. So just being aware now more aware of who you really are can get a sense of leaving the ego behind, leaving that false sense of having to defend ourselves and opening to the truth, because we really are, and this is one of the things we discover in the records, we are magnificent spiritual beings. We're masters in the making. And going into the records is one way of actually receiving validating information about that, about your soul's history, about your soul's divine nature, your purpose. You could say your soul's plan for this life. And as I suggested, also the path you're on, where is it that your soul wants to go? So there's a lot that can be clarifying. And here on the mountaintop, we can start to get a sense of that, of our divine nature. With all the stars and planets all around you, it's what we often speak of also as this field of pure potential that's around us. It's like this openness into the universe and a sense of ourselves that is much greater. And as I said, also, we don't have to defend ourselves. We can just leave any of those ego concerns behind. And you might even get a broader sense of yourself here. And this is like the jumping off point, we might say. Can invite in also Archangel Metatron, who is the keeper of the records. And we often travel to these places with Archangel Metatron or other angels. But because he's the keeper of the records, he's a wonderful being to have with us when our intention is to go into the records. So you can surround yourself also with his light. He's inviting you, if you're open to it, if you want to receive luminous golden white light, sparkling, radiant light. The archangels are beings of pure love. So when we invite them to bless us, then we raise our vibration closer to them. And again, this is helping us to rise into a place where we can receive higher truth and wisdom. So again, taking that in and noticing you are divine. You are a wondrous spiritual being who is discovering yourself. There might be a message for you here. Metatron might have a gift for you here, something that you can imagine taking back with you, a spiritual gift. And then we're going to return and just understanding this is coming to this place as a daily routine and opening to the love in your heart. That is a characteristic also that develops, having that connection with the love in your heart. It develops with practice. So it becomes clear and the love grows deeper. So knowing you can come back to this place anytime you want and connect with Archangel Metatron and other beautiful beings, beings of light. So we want to thank Metatron for now. He'll be back with us. And we can actually just ask him to overlight this whole time that we have together, and then he'll be back with us for the healing that Phillip is going to do later. And for now, then, just imagining ourselves floating gently back into the place where our bodies are resting here. Feel yourself with your feet firmly on the ground or the floor. You want to be grounded to the earth. And breathing in more active energy, returning to your normal waking state. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So I'm curious, Phillip, if you have any insights from that, or if Metatron.
Yeah, I got a gift from him, a golden crystal ball that I can take with me, which is very nice. Maybe some
Wonderful.
of you had gifts or messages. And if you didn't, by the way, it's fine. Don't feel like, oh, something you did something wrong. This is whatever occurs is right for you where you are now.
Right, right. And anytime along the way, Phillip, he often gets messages from the angels too. If you have a message for us from Metatron,
Yeah,
can
I think I'll
certainly
add
share
that
that.
into the final angelic EFT healing. I'll insert a message. I'll get a message from Metatron. We'll do that. So we're on the myth 2 of 5. One was it may be dangerous. It may be, we've hopefully dispelled that you're not going to meet the boogeyman or open up Pandora's box and so forth, done rightly with a little bit of preparation, a little bit of guidance. And again, just to specify what the Akashic Records are, some ways of describing them. You might say it's a cloud database for your soul's experiences. So that might be something akin to it, or it might be a guidance system that will help you understand what's happening to you now. So the second myth is that you need special abilities to access the Akashic Records. You need that secret Akashic Records password. And if you don't know that, you can't get in. Well, not really. It is open source. There is no password needed, although you do want to have some training and preparation.
Right.
And many people connect with the Akashic Records through a third party. In other words, a person is reading your Akashic Records, and many psychics and mediums, as you know, just general people who can do this, or famous people like Edgar Cayce, And they may have a great intention or maybe not as great, and they may be very clear or maybe not so clear. Those are things to be aware of. And um, they're not the only way to do it. That's the point of this myth. You don't have to wait for a third party. In fact, it can be rather disempowering to have to be dependent on someone else to
Right.
read the records that with the right training and support you can do for yourself. In other words, if you learn something yourself, is it going to be more valuable, deeper than if someone else, you just hear someone else talk about something that you're interested in? Well, of course, if you do it yourself, it's going to be much more valuable and sustainable and deeper. And uh, with the right training, you can, quote, do it yourself. And that's very validating, and you can avoid some misinformation. And we've had people say, this is what someone told me are in my records. And then I asked him, well, have you validated that? I mean, what does that mean to you? Well, no, but that's what the person told me. So it's sort of like living your life based on what someone else told you, which is a lot of like our 3D programming, things that our parents said, our teachers said, government says, etc. We're just following what someone else told us, which may or may not be true or relevant. If you find the truth for yourself, like we did with Jane's meditation a few minutes ago, it's much more valuable and validating and
Right.
useful. It's practical. Um, and you want to, of course, have the right intention and right preparation to do this. And let me give you an example. For instance, when I accessed my own Akashic records, which was very transformational for me earlier in my life, I used to be afraid of uh, uh, going
You'd get dizzy on boats.
dizzy
Is that
on
one?
boats. Yeah, I'd have seasickness. That's the word I'm
Yeah.
saying. And dizziness on like Ferris wheels. It would be a similar, like I'd kind of lose my balance and feel nauseous. So I didn't understand why that was because I don't remember a traumatic incident early in my life related to something like that. So I said, maybe the records have something. And that's one of the great things about the records because they hold all your past lifetimes, your present and potential future lifetimes. So in the records, I saw a man going down with a ship on a stormy sea and dying, not being able to save the ship. Now, sometime for you people, for those who do healing and so forth, just being aware of things clarifies you and heals you, which in this case it did remarkably enough. It just gives you the insight and clarity of like, why am I so resistant? No, I'm not going down with a ship when I'm out at sea and it gets a little bumpy or something, or I'm on a Ferris wheel. So once that recognition occurred, it really dramatically shifted my life regarding that. I went on a boat ride with Jane in Hawaii, a cormorant, a little boat on the Hawaiian
Catamaran.
catamaran on the ocean there, and it was a very stormy day, and I was fine. There was a moment of vertigo, just no big deal, and I was fine. And actually, someone after the ride afterwards was around the corner behind a little building throwing up from the seasickness that that person experienced, which I could easily relate to. So it really completely changed my reality, learning about these kind of things. And when we have people in our classes, they sometimes have these life-changing insights and experience of, why am I always anxious about this? Why does this phobic for me? These kind of things can be cleared up, illuminated. It can make your life a lot richer and really accelerate your spiritual growth in the right setting, like the upcoming Akashic Records course that we'll be offering May 13th.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so I think that in summary, you don't need a psychic, you don't need a medium to access the Akashic Records, the myth. It's something that virtually anyone can do with a little preparation and training. It's available to you with an open mind, an open heart, calmness. You can access it too, which takes us to myth number 3. Jane?
Right. I do want to mention with all of that too. I I find actually for people who have been told like your this happened in your history, um, it can, I think, be even detrimental, as Philip was suggesting, to believe those things. And when you know it for yourself, like one of the most poignant I guess, past life kinds of things that happened to me was being burned at the stake. I couldn't figure out why it was that I was so afraid of expressing myself, my truth. Then I found myself being burned at the stake. So, and that was a similar thing, that it actually, I was able to heal it. And there's more to that story, because we tend to repeat things. So, I was burned at the stake. I was beheaded out. A lot of things happened because I continued to vibrate in that fear. And as long as we continue to vibrate in whatever it is, we tend to, lifetime after lifetime, attract those similar things. Anyhow, it is so helpful, and it keeps evolving too. This is another thing that, what I've noticed for myself, and I think many people I've discussed this with. Um, the experience that I have now in the records, with some years of experience behind me, is nothing like it was when I first entered them. Meaning that it is an expansive process in itself. And we'll be talking about the dimensions when we get further into it, that we might enter like at the sixth dimension and then rise up to a higher dimension of the records, which opens us to more information. So it it evolves. But with that in mind, the evolution, myth number 3 is there's only one way to enter the records, which obviously, or which I'm suggesting, is not true, and it does even change. So it is it is an evolution, and there are some primary ways that people do it, which I'll discuss in a moment. But the point also is that some teachers teach one specific process, and they say it might be like a prayer or invocation or meditation, whatever, and they claim their way is the only valid way. I even came across one time where part of the prayer that you said has to acknowledge this person who was your teacher, who was teaching the course, as part of your ability to enter the records, which to me doesn't make any sense at all, because you don't need someone else to validate being in the records or to be able to enter the records. Um, Anyhow, there are, as I also kind of suggested just now, there are different ways. Sacred prayers are common. That's one of the common ways that people do it, a prayer or an invocation. Um, it's, I think it's one of the most common, but maybe one that um, lacks the level of awareness that we bring to it, even with the process that we just did. There's more awareness in that probably than the prayer, more that you're integrating into your realization of who you are. So prayers are one, and I'm not saying they don't work either. It's not the one we teach. The second one is meditation, which is considered to be the most time consuming, where you do it long, like kind of getting into the right place and whatever that is. Um, it doesn't take that long. And I think the fourth one actually is focused intention, where you just focus on it and you can be there, which is where I am now, because I've been doing it so much that it's very easy for me to just, in most cases, go there. Um, the the process that we use to get to that point is creative visualization, which is what we started, going up to the mountaintop and really connecting with the experience of it. From there, we're going to go up further, and accessing the power of your imagination, um, which is, it gives you I think, a more expansive perception of the whole process. Like what would the entryway to the library, what would that be? When you go in, what's in the library? And it may not even be a library. Some people experience a library, some people experience something that's completely different, which is fascinating about it. So there isn't one single way. And I think because of our soul's nature being what it is, unique. Each of us experiences it in our own unique way. And if you are connecting with your heart and with your own truth, then you know it's the right way for you, regardless of what anybody else is doing. So it is really wonderful. So we use what you might call it vivid visualization processes. And if you think you can't visualize, we can address that too. It really is about enlisting all of your senses. So if you feel more, that's fine. If you hear more, that's fine. Whatever, whoever you are and whatever your nature is perfect for you. And then in addition to this process, we also, as you know, use Oracle and Tarot decks to enhance it. And it helps us to really explore things in depth in a way that I think my perception, having used them now for some years, in in depth, is that they always bring in something that is unexpected. So it's actually asking me to perceive something differently than I have before in a way that is expansive for me, that is going to help me. And I think with the records, the cards can actually help you to identify things that would be valuable for you to explore in the records. So we'll be going into that quite a bit. And it is just magical, and it's worth taking the time to gradually expand your connection with your heart, expand your ability to visualize. All of those things, they pay off over and over, more and more. And I think you would agree, right, Philip?
Oh,
I think
yes.
we talk about this quite a bit, and I've been amazed the whole combination of things with the cards, and then inviting the angels who lift us up and can help us. We have a new angelic deck that we're going to use, that we haven't used in the course before, that I'm finding to be really wonderful too. So um, just it just is, to me, the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
All of it.
So combining the Akashic Records with specially chosen oracles, connecting with archangels and guides, also using EFT and angelic
Yeah,
EFT
the
for healing,
healing.
using
Yeah.
that combination, it's unique. Of course, it's a very effective combination to help you go deeper. And of course, you're in this wonderful spiritual community, small community of people to support you and to practice with. So that's very special and important to do, which many people are lacking that key piece of having a community and some direct guidance. So that takes us to myth number 4 of 5. The Akashic Records is a literal library filled with books. So you hear the Akashic Records or Akashic Library, and people think of this grandiose old library, which it may be for some people, by
Right.
the way. It's varied as there are people. There are many, many variations. Uh, the idea is it isn't literally a library, physical or digital. Uh, and people may see what is a library. There may be a guide there. There may be Metatron, Archangel guiding. There may be a personal guide or record keeper that you go to. Many people have that or not.
I have 5 record keepers.
Yes. So there are a lot of possibilities. Some people see very ornate scrolls. And I'm thinking one of our students who saw this was given by her record keeper a scroll with special herbs and ornaments on it, and then it took her into a cave. This often people then go into the scenery that the records is showing, and she was in a cave then and experiencing something with a shamanic teacher, for example, and she used that in combination with the oracle cards, the mystical shaman deck, which I may draw a card here in a few minutes to show you
It's
that.
a really wonderful deck.
Yeah, great deck. We use one of the decks in the course. And so the Akashic Records is a virtual uh, database, sometimes called the Book of Life in the Bible. Other religious traditions talk about other names for it. And it's intelligible, it's translatable, and it will adapt to what is best for you. so you can understand it in the way that's right for you personally. It may be like a movie screen or a computer. It might be like a play story playing out, and you may get images, symbols, messages, some combination of that. So there are many possibilities. There may be crystalline structures too, but the way sometimes people see that, like a crystalline seats or crystals or stones, special stones. So as I said, it's individual, and that's why it's nice to have support so you're not just there all by yourself and you have validation. Um, and so this isn't something just conceptual or intellectual. And where I'm going to right now is what is one of the main roadblocks for accessing the records is the left brain, the analytical brain, figuring it out. Hey, is this true? I mean, does this make sense? Is this really happening? Those kind of thoughts, they interfere with your intuition. And again, this is a very intuitive experience, a deeper level of intuition. Where you're learning to access a very deep realm, which is completely available to you at this realm. And then after you experience it, after you come back from the records, yes, then go back to your left brain and say, now, what was this? Let me figure this out. Now, what was that message? And you may want to take some notes. So then you can use your left analytical brain. Just don't let it interfere with the process. Um, and it's a wonderful experience, and you can even have different dimensions in the Akashic record. So there's a lot to it. So for those who have done past lives, that's part of it. It's much broader and deeper and expansive than just past lives. And again, it's been through religious literature. It's been through spiritual luminaries. Edgar Cayce did thousands of readings, Yogananda, uh, Rudolf Steiner's, and other people as well. But you can do it too. Uh, and it will be the way it is right for you to experience. Jane, last myth number 5.
Yeah, I wanted to make a couple comments before we go there. Uh, I just wanted to mention that when I first went into the records, I did go into a library, but then the record keepers, there are like 5 record keepers, and they're always there in front of me. And what they did, rather than guiding me to books, which could happen, is generally, they present me with orbs. And then what I do is I just embrace the energy of the orb, and it takes me where I need to go. It isn't all the time. Sometimes there might be a scroll or something different. Mostly it's orbs. And I did look up finally what what is an orb? And orbs are considered to be packets of information. So it's like I just accept the packet of information, and then it
Mm-hmm.
reveals itself to me. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the way that it happens for me. It isn't something I designed,
Mm-hmm.
and it is, like I said, it isn't that way always, but that's what happens. And as Philip suggested, some people, they'll be handed crystals. One woman, I remember, her her library was a huge, crystalline structure, and then all of her information would come in the form of crystals that would be handed to her, and then she would receive them, whatever it was, from that. So it's very magical. I think it's best not to have any preconceived notions of what you want it to be or what it
Mm-hmm.
should be, because it just is.
Right.
And what I found, there have been a lot of things that are very personal to me that I don't discuss necessarily with other people, that have been presented or shown to me. Um, and I've wondered, well, is this, like Philip was suggesting, is this real? And then just letting it be what it is over time. And it might take a while. I understand it, but you may not understand exactly why things are the way they are, and that's okay. Another point about this, we talk a lot about preferring not to talk about other people's records, which you can do. I mean, that is something that people do, obviously. But the process that we teach you to go into the records, you can go through that process with clients. So you guide them into their records to discover what they want, rather than telling them what's in their records. It's kind of like teaching a person to fish instead of handing them fish.
Yeah, and you may interact and get insights to help other people with their
Right,
records too.
right. Yeah, yeah. So I did want to mention that's what we aim for people who want to work with other people. Our preference is to help them to learn to fish, as you might say. So that takes us to myth number 5. The records can predict your future. And of course, I have actually I have this one kind of funny deck. It's a fortune telling oracle cards. And while you can, I guess, use fortune telling cards, and I actually just drew one this morning. Um, it doesn't really matter. I use them kind of for fun, and also I can use them in a certain way that is valid for me. Um, but the point is that the records, it's called a living library, the Akashic Records. And the reason is because we're changing all the time. Some people may not be changing much, so you might be able to very easily predict where they're going. Because, for instance, if you're vibrating like fear all the time, fear of, oh, something might be going wrong, you're going to just draw to yourself more things that resonate, that vibrate with that. And you're so it's fairly predictable where you're going if you're just kind of going along in that way. If you're growing and changing and expanding, then your future is changing all the time. And of course, what we're wanting to do is go into the records to find out how we can get on our soul's highest trajectory, the trajectory that is most valid for us at this time. That's going to be most beneficial. But the main point is that we all have free will, and you can kind of, I guess, maybe get an idea of where a person is going, but you never know for sure because um, things can change. And then, of course, I think there are forces on the planet that are larger than us, like we're encountering a lot of them right now, like wars or natural disasters that can greatly disrupt where we're heading or have an impact on where we're heading, and that can affect our trajectory also. And at the same time, say if you're looking at the war now that's occurring, and there are actually numerous wars around the world, we all have choices also on where we want to focus our attention to be of the greatest support for the whole, right? If we're wanting to grow, if we're here also with a more expansive perspective on life, like where our main focus is on creating a more loving world, we're going to continue to focus on creating a more loving world, not just say, oh, everything's going down. I'm going to go down with it. And that it doesn't help anything to do that, by the way. And you can still be on a higher trajectory for yourself and be of the greatest benefit to the whole by being intentional with what you're focusing on, what you're vibrating. So I think that's a very interesting, and also it's a very important part of all of this, is that each of us, whatever it is that we're focusing on and vibrating, is like our vote for the reality that we're wanting to create for ourselves and for the world, because every one of us matters. Every one of us
Right.
is playing a part in all of these things. And of course, with all the challenges, I think another wonderful thing being in a community of people is that having people, having other people supporting you is really valuable too. So, for clarification, the records are a non-judgmental, neutral recording of events, and then our thoughts and our feelings enter into the picture for us personally of where we are and where we're going. So that is the main focus, is how we can be in the place we want to be and understand more about who we are so that we can move forward with in the best possible way for ourselves and for everyone.
So we wanted to do a little brief healing, angelic EFT healing, bringing in Metatron as the angel with a message for us, for anyone who is having some fears or doubts about accessing the records. And as I said, in our upcoming course, the Spiritual Awakenings with the Akashic Records, Oracles, and EFT, we go into this week by week with a wonderful spiritual community. But for now, just in case all of this has gotten like, well, I'm not sure still if I can do it, this will encourage you and build your confidence, I think. And you can just follow along with me if you don't know the EFT tapping. And we will bring in Archangel Metatron to overlight this healing process about any fears and doubts of accessing the Akashic records. So bringing his energy back in.
Philip, are we going to have a person as a volunteer or do it as a
We're going to
group?
do it as a group, and I'll just
I see.
get
Okay.
any responses from those of you who are here live. And of course, on replay, please follow along and do this. See what happens to you. So bringing in Archangel Metatron's energy to help all of us. His free, beautiful golden energy is coming in. And we can say the affirmation, even though part of me is fearful or doubtful about accessing the Akashic records, I can still love and accept myself. And we can tap the side of the hand. That's often a starting point with EFT, as you may know. So even though part of me is fearful or doubtful about accessing the Akashic records, I can love and accept myself. Say that aloud or to yourself. And even though part of me is perhaps afraid, doubtful about accessing the Akashic records, I can love and accept myself. And anything is possible, and miracles are happening now. We like to add our EFT miracle reframe in. So connecting with that, so we're tapping the EFT release acupressure main meridian highway points, and we say release. We're releasing any of that fear and doubt in the top of the head, and this eyebrow, this side of the nose, release.
Inside of the eyebrow.
Yeah. The side of the eye, release. Tapping lightly 5 to 7 times. Balancing the system under the eye, tapping lightly 5 to 7 times, release. Under the nose, release. Tapping gently. Under the mouth, release. The collarbone, the ridge in the collarbone underneath that, release. Some of these areas might be a little sensitive to touch. And then under the arm, under the armpits, kind of embracing yourself, release there. And finally, our reset process with holistic EFT, tapping the top of the head, balancing the left and right brain. Anything is possible. Breathing that in and tapping the heart, and miracles are happening now. Breathing that in and connecting with Metatron's overlighting energy. And he's saying, yes, the records are available to you and every single person. They are just there in a certain place beyond time and space, and yet available to you in this moment now. As you open your heart and allow yourself this way to access a higher energy, it will be made available to you as you have known in the past at other times when you have connected with higher energy fields. And you can draw on your past successes now. And we do love you, and we will help you in the records anytime you wish. With much love, Metatron. I'm thanking Metatron. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, coming back into the room with your feet grounded. And you may have picked up an insight or an awareness. Oftentimes people doing those kind of energy healings. And I know some of the people are already enrolled in the upcoming Akashic Records course or have already previously taken it. But anyone who'd like to just share what that was like for them or anything about the course coming up or anything, that would be great. Get a little further awareness of what we're doing here.
Yeah, I'm curious if anyone wants to share what they noticed and what their fears were or any of that.
Resistances.
I
Yeah.
mean, can we do maybe a couple layers of
Yeah.
things rather than
Yeah.
if anybody wants to share?
Yeah.
I'm always curious.
Anything that anyone noticed. kind of quiet on there. Okay. And I know some people who are students have probably I know have accessed the record, so they may not have had a lot of fear or doubts on that aspect of things. And some of the newer people, I can understand if you're a little shy about speaking up too, or are still processing things.
Terry, were you thinking of saying something? I noticed you're not muted. I don't know if you were thinking of talking.
Something did come up when you were referring to accessing, and then that it's always changing and shifting, which makes perfect sense with, the latest information about the field and what is possible, and whether something collapses into a state or whether it's a wave. So there was something niggling in that about how then do we reach for specific information? Plus, there's also this string theory, which is there's always other possibilities, or we're living other lifetimes or other realities. I mean, how do you access something in a field of perpetual motion?
Yeah, and I think
Does that make
intellectually,
sense?
yes, it makes sense. Intellectually, it's a black box. It's maybe not big able to figure out through conventional logical, linear, philosophical methods. But that's what we're teaching is the experience. You will be taken exactly where you need to go. You won't have to figure out the string theory or what dimension you're on or which lifetime among 100 you have to go to. It's all there for you. And your intent and guidance, especially in the right setting, will take you exactly where you need to go. Like the stories that some of the stories we've shared in the class today.
And I think the cards help too.
Because yes,
the cards can help to identify things too, and
Yeah.
that's why we use those too.
The specially
that
curated.
shows the struggle for me, which is the mind, the intellect,
Right.
and then the absolute trusting of being guided.
Yeah, learning to trust yourself deeper, which you already have a good amount of that, but we can all go deeper. And this is a great environment to do so when you're with a group of other like-minded spiritual people, and that'll accelerate your evolution.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good
That's
question.
the travel of the mind.
Yeah. Thank you, Terry, for asking that, because that I think probably, a lot of people may have been wondering things like that. How do you know this is right or which way to go? And it's not like figuring it out. It's not the left brain won't do it. It's your intuition. It's a special intuition system, special state of consciousness that you'll arrive at naturally with support here. Yeah, good.
Yeah. And I keep discovering new things, and I'm not even expecting them, but
Right.
it seems like we get kind of into, I guess, a flow with it. We talk about being in a flow, which I think is that's a good antidote also for the the left brain, is just entering this flow state and allowing it with the intention and asking source or whatever your belief system is for who you're asking, to support you in understanding the things that you need to, and watching. I find I'm getting a lot just from signs and synchronicities. So if we ask for those clear signs, and then also from the cards, from the experience of going into the records, and the record keepers can just provide something that you might not expect, or whatever your experience is there. um, I always have the record keepers.
Mm-hmm.
And other beings like Metatron. I've been working with Metatron a lot in the last couple of days with something that was completely unexpected. You just don't know it, but you have to be open to the journey. I guess that's the way that I look at it. And it's really about, in a way, being in the flow, being in the eternal now. Not projecting energy into the future, not projecting energy into the past. Being where you are now, in the flow with the divine, and opening.
And it's easier to do that, I think, in a group setting where everyone's supporting you, especially if you haven't done this kind of work before. But you can always go deeper, even if you have.
Right.
And
Yeah.
as we're wrapping this up here, if this is
I just
something,
wonder if Terry has any other
oh,
comments on that.
Terry, did you have any further? Was that
Okay. Yeah.
sufficient? Okay.
Yeah. Or any
So,
other comments, people maybe who would want to comment on the course?
oh yeah, if
Anybody?
any, we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming course, and um, I want to get some comments if people are interested, because some people have either are enrolled in the course already or have taken it in the past who are here. And the course is called Spiritual Awakening with the Akashic Records, Oracles, and EFT. And it starts May 13th, and it's a guided step-by-step journey. And you're going to learn how to access the records for yourself and help others too who are interested. And of course, we do it in a very grounded, practical way. And you'll build a lot of confidence and clarity in doing this. And you'll really understand some life patterns and your soul level purpose at a deeper way. And you'll get the EFT intuitive and other intuitive tools we'll be teaching in this unique 12-week course. It's once a week. They're all recorded if you can't make them live on Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific. And you're going to work with a guidance system that feels very safe and real and reliable for you. You'll learn about that. And you can support others with it too, what you learn, because you may want to help other people access the records. And I want to share a little bit more about that. But with that in mind, I know a few people who've taken the course or enrolled. Maybe we could hear from you and just what the experience is like for those people who are looking at it now and considering joining us here soon on the May 13th course beginning.
Philip, can I just interject there?
Yeah.
It actually starts May 6th with an overview class where that's open to the public. In other words, if you're thinking of it and want to invite a friend to join you, hi,
Yeah.
sweetie pie.
You can get
you
a
could
preview.
do that,
Yeah.
and we will be providing information that is actually the beginning of the course. There, we call it the overview class, but it is part of the course. So, May 6th.
And I'll show you where you find the course, where you would enroll in it, the tinyurl.com here, if you can see that, May 13th, tinyurl.com/your-akashic-records, tinyurl.com/your-akashic-records if you're not on the page, just to remember it if you're not already on that page. And you can enroll there. There's a special price too. We've kept it very affordable, which we may be raising a little bit here in the near future before we begin. But that's where you go to get the course. So comment or question from some people who have either enrolled or have taken the course before. David.
Yeah, so I've taken it, and as everything that you guys do is beyond belief and beyond expectation. How and how much that you provide, and way beyond the advertisement. But with the Akashic Records, I love the opening, to even more potential that you can't figure out. And so many more possibilities by going through this process.
Thanks, David.
Yep.
And George. George, looks like you raised your hand there.
I did. I'm sorry. It took me a moment to unmute. Well, I'm looking forward to the course. I'm enrolled, but for my personal edification at this point. But I remember taking an interest in this subject once before and scouring the internet for information on the Akashic Records, and I think I found a book. And don't it may not be exactly this, but it's something similar. It was like reading the Akashic Records for dummies.
Yeah.
And I don't know that sort of thing. I have mixed feelings about it. It seems to kind of remove some credibility in a way, but
Mhm.
whatever, people will do what they will do. They'll write books about, for dummies on how to do things. But whether, wherever we are, I mean, I'm not a dummy, but I'm not an Einstein either, so to speak. So I've taken another course from you and Jane, of course, and I trust you to give us good guidance. I look forward to trying my hand at this,
Well,
so
I
to
think
speak.
it's great to have you with us again, George. And I think you and all the people together, because it creates a great environment for accessing the records, especially with these specially chosen oracle cards to accompany us, and the angelic EFT healing as well. And so you learn how to trust yourself at a deeper level and get these wonderful answers that are very unique and targeted for you specifically, so you can trust yourself to go further. And again, it's we also have some special guidebooks, resource books that we've designed, written exactly for this course. We're good writers as well. We've written many books. One of our books, which is in the course Awakening to Your Magnificence, as a reference book, is behind me. So you have access to those tools and all the recordings and other handouts and resource sections too. So I think you'll be well served in that way. Jane, did you want to add anything there?
I think that the magical thing is that if we are open to it, and Terry was mentioning how the left brain can get in the way, if we are open to it, we will be guided. And it is magical, it's mystical, and also with the intention of connecting with those things that are, whatever words work for you. I love magical and mystical, that are that are helping you to awaken, wanting to understand your purpose, having all of those intentions, and then following through over time can be really surprising, very surprising with all of these tools.
Yeah, so to enroll, go to that shortened URL, the tiny url.com/your-akashic-records if you're not on that page to enroll. And it'll be wonderful to see those who are joining us in this special voyage into the Akashic Records with the oracles and EFT healing. So until next time, look forward to our next connection.
May 6th, remember.
May 6th. Join.
Same time, same
We'll
place.
be